This is a Louie Tee Network exclusive.
For those of you who don't know, I'm Louie Tee, host of the Louie Tee Network, and this is One Burning Question, a series that will take a look at all 32 teams in the National Football League and pose a question. Some teams will have micro questions where we look at the team in its current state and talk about what could potentially happen for them in this season, and some will take a macro approach where we kind of open up the lens a bit and take a step back and look at it from a wide view look and perspective and talk about where these franchises might be going in the future, not just this season, but moving forward. So I'll take a look at each and every single team, ask a burning question, answer that question, and move on to the next team. Thank you for joining me. Enjoy One Burning Question. Welcome to this In the Lab Room exclusive series, One Burning Question. I, of course, as always, am your host, Louie Tee. Thank you for joining me on this program. Today we're talking Minnesota Vikings, a very young, up-and-coming football team under the leadership of head coach Mike Zimmer. Zimmer! Who are you giving the keys to your being? Well, he's giving them to Teddy Bridgewater, and he's handing them to Adrian Peterson. Let's talk about this Vikings team and ask the one burning question as we move forward towards the playoffs for this Minnesota Vikings organization. Is this team too young and too vanilla to win in the playoffs? It's a pretty simple and straightforward question for a Minnesota Vikings team that is pretty straightforward and simple. They don't try to confuse you with the things that they do offensively. They don't try to be someone who they're not. And I think that's some of the things that we kind of appreciate. I know I can't speak for anyone else, just speak for myself in this. I really appreciate the fact that the Vikings know who they are. They don't try to play outside of the box. They don't try to do something that is unfamiliar to them. Each and every single week, the game plan remains unchanged. We're going to run the football, we're going to minimize the mistakes, and we're going to take advantage of the other team's mistakes and try to win the football game that way. They don't ask Teddy Bridgewater to sling it 40 times. They don't step outside of their comfort zone. You pretty much know what you're going to get from this Vikings team. That's a gift, but it can also be a curse when you're playing the upper echelon teams in the National Football League. See 2 weeks ago versus the Seattle Seahawks at home. Seattle takes away the run game early. The Vikings, maybe you could argue, go away from it too early in that ball game. Either way, the onus and the pressure was put on Teddy Bridgewater. That offensive line was not able to protect. He turns the football over. They turn into points. That game gets out of control before halftime. So you can ask the question, hey, is this team too vanilla? Can this team kind of adapt to their surroundings? Maybe it's a game where things get out of hand early and they fall down 14-0 quickly. Can they adapt to their surroundings, their environment, and come out and throw the football 37 times and battle back and win? We haven't seen that from this team all season long. We've seen in spots where Teddy Bridgewater was forced to throw the football. He's been able to do so in certain spots, like Thursday night against the Arizona Cardinals, where I thought he played well enough to put his team in a position to win. You can't have the turnovers in the red zone. Guys fumbled the football. Teddy Bridgewater himself fumbled on the last snap offensively for the Vikings, but he did a great job, over 300 yards passing in that game, of giving them an opportunity. You saw it earlier in the season when they were able to go on the road and beat Detroit, where he had over 300 yards passing in that ball game. But that's, to me, an anomaly. That's not what this team does. They usually turn around and hand it off to Adrian Peterson. And so, because of that, if you take him out of the game early on and make Teddy Bridgewater have to beat you, can this team do that right now with the weapons or lack thereof on the offensive side of the football? That's the question you ask yourself. Can this defense be dynamic? They got some guys that you like. They're really banged up right now. If they get healthy, can this defense, and it's a very young football team on the defensive side of football as well as the offensive side of football, can this football team do enough? Are they too young to know how to get it done come postseason time? Are they too young to know how to get it done down the stretch? This season is not over. The NFC North is still in the balance. Is this team too young to seize the opportunity that's right before them? We've seen them struggle in some big spots of late. Packers at home, them leading the division at the time they lose that game, and really, frankly, not even close. You look at the game against Seattle, a team they're vying for a playoff spot against. They let Seattle come in, drub them at the crib. You look at the game versus Arizona. You're in that game, you play well enough to win, but you don't get over the hump because you make mistakes on the road in a tough environment and lose the football game. Can this team that's very young and inexperienced get over the hump? Are they too vanilla to shake free of some of the preconceived notions that we have of this football team? And when the circumstances of a ball game changes and your first 15 scripted don't go as scripted, can this team go off the cuff and make things happen? That's the question for this Minnesota Vikings team, and I'll ask it once more. Is this team too young and too vanilla to win in the playoffs? We shall see. The Minnesota Vikings are definitely going to be in the playoffs when it's all said and done this season. Will they be NFC North champions or a wild card? And will they be able to overcome some of the circumstances that hit them come playoff time when everybody is good? We'll see. That's the one burning question for the Minnesota Vikings. I'm Louie Tee. See you next time.